There is something wrong with him.
Today we are going to start the process of germinating the seeds that I hope to transplant into our victory garden. In our last video, you saw us basically sort of work on getting a tomato plant going in a flower pot. Today we're going to do more of the professional and official way of getting our seeds started, and we're going to actually be using an official seed starting kit.
And why did you choose that brand?
So the reason I actually went with this one is that most of these things, while they say they are reusable, a little bit of a gray area because they kind of wear out. And when it comes to getting them out, you kind of have to fight with, and that's where I say they're reusable, but you wind up tearing it up, squeezing and messing with it. But in this case, we actually have silicone cups, much like all of your cookware nowadays is going silicone. This should make it easy to basically push on the bottom, pop your plant out, easy to grab, and it's not going to be brittle. It's nice and soft silicone rubber. So, well, is silicone rubber? I don't think so. But anyway, you get the idea.
Silicone, or it'd be called rubber.
True. So these should be the kind of things that we can use year over year over year. The seed pack that we picked up was a combination of the things that should be easy to fit into the little 4x8 space that we're going to have, as well as things that we actually like and things that are mostly fairly simple to deal with. So this is sort of an experiment this year, and if it goes well this year, then the goal next year is to really broaden this out and get more and more and more until eventually I have my own Farmville going on.
We're taking you along on our journey so that we can video document what works well and what doesn't.
Yeah, this way I can look back. Hey, what sucked the last year? You look like you don't feel well.
How can you tell?
Because you've already whined about not feeling well 20 times a day.
You heard all 20?
Oh, I heard more than that. I just figured that round down.
There is something wrong with him.
20 years of being married to you.
We've been married longer than 20 years.
After a while, you just start rounding. It's just, you know.
Oh, you round it down?
It feels better. Basically, as you can imagine, it doesn't really get much simpler. All this is putting dirt into the holes, shoving a seed in, getting it wet, putting a top on it, and setting it on top of a seed heating mat. So basically, I went out and looked, and we picked these up from the Zon as well. I actually wound up getting two different ones. I saw one the first time that I liked as far as quick glance at number of reviews, the overall look, and it was like $17. So I went ahead and got that one. And then I found this other brand that had one that was even cheaper. They were like $13 a piece, and it was a 2-pack. So I went ahead and picked up one of those. And between the two of them, the more expensive one actually does, I like the look of it better. It's actually nice and completely flat. There's no raised parts, so it's a nice thin little mat. It just looks like a higher quality layout. And this way we got 3 mats for fairly cheap overall. That way if one of them happens to die, hey, I got another one backed up. It warms up your seeds about 20 degrees above whatever the ambient temperature is, which should help kickstart the germination. And that's the whole point of this process. In case anyone is interested in looking into this stuff, we'll leave links below. That way you can see exactly what we got in this process. Okay, so you may have noticed that we're doing this in the house, which is not ideal, but it's kind of funny. There's YouTubers out there like crazy doing this kind of work right now, and it's always some kind of weather events. For us, it's just cold outside, so we're kind of in the house. So I'm going to use this pan to catch all the dirt to make sure nothing gets on the wife's counter, and then I have to hear about that. I love you, dear. Basically, all this is a little tray that you put the water in. This sits down inside of there to keep the seeds moist.
Oh, I thought that was a pop cover. I guess not.
I'm gonna go with no.
That's most definitely a no. Oh, there's a seed planter.
So there's a thing to know what you've planted and where.
That's kind of cool.
You have more this way, but they're fairly small, so. And now that these are out, just to give you an idea of what this basically looks like. Yeah, I do kind of wish this had the dome built in as well.
It is what it is.
It is what it is. Life hack, if you don't have a tool, use your hand.
No. What's the right tool for the job?
The one you got. Right now, the one I got is my hand. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So they're actually numbered for that little chart of yours.
I think that we should just make all the ones one thing, all the twos.
We bought 6 things. There's 6 rows. I'll poke some seeds into it. Okay, we're gonna start off with our squash. Okay, so 6 squash in the 1. Holy crap.
Is it really?
That's a lot of seeds.
You doing them all in the 1s, right?
Yes. Okay, 6. And I still got like 20 seed left, so we'll put these back in here. That way if something doesn't germinate, I can just
Try again.
put another one in there and get a late season bloomer. Cucumber in 2. And in theory, each of these has a different depth you're probably supposed to use, and I should probably be looking that up. But you know, in nature, how does nature do it? They fall on the ground, and either they grow or they don't.
But we're trying easy gardening. We're not trying complicated.
Just throw it in there and see what happens. Okay, watermelon. This time I'm going to tear off just a part of the tip.
Does it look like watermelon seeds? Go figure.
Yeah, I mean, hey, surprise, surprise. Whenever you eat stuff and you have seeds come out, that's what they are. It's basically just all the stuff that's in the plant. And I mean, it's amazing how many people don't even really actually get that whole concept.
People would really be shocked if they found out that cotton is a plant.
It is kind of trippy, isn't it, that your clothes that you're wearing are actually a plant.
Well, if it's 100% cotton.
Yep. Okay, cantaloupe.
Nope. We had to get married.
Okay, number 4. And guess what? These will look like cantaloupe seeds.
Are you kidding? I never would have guessed.
Lettuce.
Lettuce.
I've actually always wondered exactly what does a lettuce seed look like. Holy crap. That is a itty bitty little seed.
Did you put more than one seed in?
I don't know. There's like 4 bazillion seeds in here.
See.
Yeah, I think I'm going to throw a couple in each one.
Yeah.
Like a little handful.
Just to see what happens.
I mean, if anything is not going to work, I fully expect it to be lettuce. That's one thing that I have never even attempted to grow in my life.
Why are you doing it in the last one?
Because I got off by a row.
And I already wrote it on.
Well, mark it out. And
They're really going to be shocked what green beans look like.
well, if you think about it, though, you hardly ever eat a green bean individually. You always eat it, you know. Now, lima beans, everyone should know what lima beans look like. They're all planted now just to get them wet. Okay, first things first, I'm going to get rid of this big bag of dirt before I knock it in the floor and make a mess.
Someone would be very upset.
Yeah, me. Because I have to listen to you.
One
So,
extra.
I'm actually going to just start off by putting the water into the tray. And set this in. It should just wick it all right up to the surface and get it all.
So you don't need to pour it in the top. You just need to put it in the bottom.
I'm kind of on the fence. I kind of want to spray a little bit, but I don't want to disturb everything too much either. You know what I mean? But for now, I want to get this lifted up so I can get the dirt out of the tray here.
Looks like brownie.
Kind of does look like brownies.
I actually think that watering tray was more for drainage, not for putting it in and letting it soak up.
Yeah, you're probably right. But you know what?
I know I'm right, because...
Yeah, whatever. And just to clarify a little bit, I put water in the bottom and set the tray in there, mainly so that it could absorb it up into the soil. You don't want to ever actually leave standing water in the tray. You don't want your roots to sit there and soak in water, because if it does, then they'll actually rot. Just like out in the real world, you need drained soil for everything to work right. Same thing applies here. I did this sort of just as a cheat to help get the moisture into the soil the first time, and now once that absorbed into the soil, I will not be putting more in there. I will be watering it only from the top, like you're supposed to.
Oh, I'm going to make a note on when seedlings are supposed to emerge. Oh, the cucumbers said 2 to 3 per group.
I'm just going to put my heat mat into the pan right here.
I mean, I don't know whether a heating pad would be ideal, but if you had a heating pad, that would work.
And plug it in. Plug it in, plug it in. And now she's good and heavy, because now she's full. Yep, the mat's a nice even warmth. So this is just temporary for now. Eventually we're going to get this set up where it gets the right amount of light. I'd like to actually get it set outside, maybe even. I need to build a greenhouse. Lowe's trip.
How did they multiply?
Simple. You said 2 of them wouldn't fit. You challenged me and made it sound like I was an idiot, so I had to prove you wrong.
Do we have room for a second one of those on that pan?
Technically, yes. Yes, we do.
Are you sure?
Of course.
Let me get yelled at yellow. Okay. You're not wrong this time.
I knew I wasn't wrong.
Does it fit there perfectly?
Yeah, I think it's good enough. Like the heat will still radiate up into it, so I think it'll be fine even with that little bump right there. And I found a place off the counter, so you can stop whining about it. This way it's out of the way. It can still get a little bit of, not like it needs the light right now anyway, but it gets a little bit of light. The carpet will be a little bit of an insulator to help hold the heat from going down into the floor.
Okay. Oh, and since there's an outlet there, there's a lamp that we could put there.
Yeah, I could put a grow light on it. So now we start monitoring to see how this turns out. And so I will say, if you have any tricks or hints or tips about things that you've done in regards to this part of this process, feel free to leave them below. At the same time, I fully admit that even I know that there are things about the way I did this that are not really correct or perfect. What this project is a, hey, let's see if we can get some stuff growing out in the yard this year. Buy some cheap stuff, throw it together, see what happens. We're talking minimalist, as easy as it comes. We're not really measuring. We're not really doing things per procedures and proper ways. So yeah, I do know that there's things that we're doing that are not really perfect. So I definitely would not consider this to be a tutorial, more of a follow along with us while we do this project and see what happens.
And if you have things that you know, oh, that was not right, then don't hesitate to leave that in the comments, because that's how we learn and grow, and how our plants will grow. Just be nice when you leave that feedback.
I mean, like, I think this is going to be a nice little thing. In fact, it's almost got me itching to do some flowers now. I'm starting to get a green thumb. Technically, I got 2 more heat mats.
But we do not have 2 more pans.
Yeah, I don't really need a pan.
And
Technically, we do have 1 more pan.
why are all my pans being used for household projects, sir?
So stuff doesn't leak in your cabinets, and then I get fussed at for having your counter cabinets all nasty. You still feel bad?
Yes, I do.
Oh, you look worse. Some days you feel like poking the bear.
And some days the bear pokes back.
But hopefully you enjoyed this, and if you did, then feel free to join us and do the usual social media things to follow along. And if so, then we will see you in the follow-ups to this series.
And hopefully we'll be recording something in 7 to 10 days.
Yeah.
Yes!
Either that or we're like, frickin'.